adopted in 12 other countries. It is, in fact, in Singapore already. And they have a holistic approach to community building. So it's not just giving homes to the underprivileged and to the homeless. They also have um, environment projects, infrastructure projects. And this is a huge market. And they'll be needing, in our estimate, almost 305 million units of concrete hollow blocks to meet their target construction for the year. And we are only targeting 7% of that. And at the end of 5 years, we will be targeting 13% of that market. So in encouraging other industry players to follow what we will be doing, we are actually um, guaranteeing our share of the market by partnering with the NGOs. And again, helping the community by lowering the prices of, or lowering the price of construction material and the construction cost of housing units, making them more affordable.
Yeah, and as we discussed earlier, the market is very big since there is a gap between the supply and demand for construction materials in the Philippines. Um, and NGOs are at a disadvantage versus private big real estate developers because they usually get the hollow blocks. So um, many NGOs face a shortage of hollow blocks. So our mission is to provide these hollow blocks to the NGOs to also guarantee their supply.
You mentioned in your write-up, in any case, that people are already using PVC pipes and recycled plastic to make hollow blocks. You say this.
Yes.
Your difference is that you'll be using PET.
Yes.
How do you collect this? Where does it come from?
Here's Justin to discuss about the sourcing.
Sir, the PET bottles will be sourced from the San Mateo landfill. We will buy them from the scavengers, providing them with a steady source of income.
Okay, that answers my question. You have to go get it from the landfill.
Yes.
Can I ask you where you expect to build all these houses? Is it in the cities?
Sir, we will build a materials recovery facility near the landfill to collect, but our factory will be outside.
No, where
near-
are these houses
Yes,
being built?
Yes, the houses, the Gawad Kalinga will have housing projects in the National Capital Region, which is where we will build our material recovery facility, and also it is where our plant will be located.
So it'll be near the city, is
Yes,
that what
it
you're
will be near
saying? What
the
is the
city.
life cycle of a building near the city?
Life cycle of a building near the city will be
In Thailand, a shop house life cycle is 8 years. From the time it's built to the time it's destroyed and something else is built. For example, because the land is used for better use after that.
as far as I know, I don't think we have that in the Philippines because we have seen,
No, is it going to be 100 years?
no, not definitely not.
Okay, then tell me roughly.
Yeah, roughly maybe
10
20,
years,
25
15 years?
20, 25 years.
Yeah, so what happens then? Where do the blocks go? The plastic that's in the blocks doesn't deteriorate for 1 million years.
Yeah, I know.
So where does the plastic go? Back to the landfill.
Yes. No, wait, maybe as I understood your question wrong, I was thinking that you were asking me what the life of a typical plant will be.
No, no,
But-
I'm talking about the building.
Oh, the building. Oh, in the Philippines, I don't think it's applicable. But to answer your question, we are not sure about it. Point taken. We'll consider it and maybe.
I'm only
further-
questioning
further
this
research.
because you say you're trying to reduce the waste and recycle something, etc.
Yes.
But I'm suggesting to you that all you've done is created a gap. Because after 8 years, 10 years, they'll want to build this apartment building there, you know? So those buildings have to go. Those smaller homes that NGO has built, they'll be cleared out and something else will be built.
Actually, the homes that the NGOs would, that Gawad Kalingwa would will provide will be permanently owned by the beneficiaries, and it's
Oh, okay.
donated land, and I don't think um, it will be the land will not be used for other purposes.
Could these discarded blocks from the destructed buildings be reused in your process to create new blocks in the future?
Yes, they may be, because we'll just recover the plastic that we place inside it, and the sand and cement mixture will go back to not necessarily the landfill, but it could be used in the landfill also, because a landfill has layers. To build a landfill, it has layers. It has sand and clay, and then before you can actually dump the garbage on the landfill.
By the way, as an investor, I wouldn't like you to give my money away to people like you're suggesting you're going to do. I agree with your thoughts, your desire to have a better Philippines and homes for everybody is fabulous. But if you're looking for money for me, I'm supposed to put the money in, and then whatever you build, you're going to go give away some to somebody else who didn't invest.
Maybe you should look at the financial part,
Yes, sir.
because if I put in the money, what do I get out of it?
Okay.
And
Okay.
when do I get out of it, and how do I get out of it?
Yes, sir. So for the investors to initiate the project, the initial cash requirement is $523,000 approximately. 30% of which will go to fixed assets to buy the machines required for the operations, and 25% will go to will go to operating expenses, including the rental deposits initially that will be needed, and the remaining 45% will be for the raw materials and the working capital for the first few months of operations. So what we're offering is your investment of $523,000 will grow to $2.5 million by the end of the fifth year of operations. So that translates to a 48% compounded annual growth rate. In our view, the cement industry is the closest to our business. So if we look at the listed Philippine Stock Exchange comparables, like Holcim, RCM, and CMT, they're currently traded at 16.5 to 32 times price to earnings. And that's a mean of 22 times and a median of 23 times. So, therefore, we think that a fair valuation would be, let's say, suppose we discount it to 10 times price to earnings. By the end of the fifth year of projections, net earnings will reach $500,000.
But surely you can't use a startup to be compared with a existing, and the volume of business is 100 times, 1,000 times difference.
Definitely, sir. So this is just an assumption, but we can further negotiate on the valuation. It can go lower, it can be discounted further.
How do you,
Yes.
what's your sales strategy? Is it on cost, or do you have a government subsidy in terms of regulation that they would like to have an eco-friendly product in all these NGOs' home? Because the people who is buying your block, are they obliged to use your product, or you still have to compete with them with other concrete?
Well, definitely, for the 90% of revenues, we'll be partnering with the NGO, but the remaining commercial sales will still be competing with the traditional concrete hollow block. And the strategy there,
Does that mean you have somebody who would off-take all your output
yes,
as contract?
yes, sir. That's
Because
the
by-
that's the
by-
general assumption.
By assumption, or is by written
Well,
agreement
it's-
contract?
By March 21, we will be in negotiations with the NGO to secure the long-term contract, to secure the revenues for the next 5 years. So it's a captured market. It is. But we're still looking for the potential to enter the commercial market. That's why we've engaged property developers like Ayala Land and Avida
So
Land.
do
Yes, sir.
you, by going into the contracts with the NGOs, must you always have 20% less of the price that of the concrete hollow blocks? What's the pricing arrangement? Because those NGOs would have to explain to their own funds raiser, where they would get the funds from, that in buying your product is because you always 20% less or 30% less. Is there such arrangement as well?
Sir, I just want to
Or because
understand.
they have to buy yours because you are using the PET recycle?
No, that's not necessarily the reason. They're buying the pet because the value add there is they will have cost savings in terms of the rebar.
So is it a fixed cost savings, constant, whatever the price of the concrete block is selling in the market?
Whether the price of the concrete increases or decreases, there will be savings relative. So if you're comparing EHB to CHB, the savings will be fixed.
So based on your estimate, the cost of production of your block will be cheaper than normal, but you are planning to sell at the same price. But you just
Yes.
expect that your customer will be able to save down the line in their own
Yes.
construction.
That is what.
Do you think
we're
that is the idea that the NGO will buy? And over time, because you expect and you invite, actually you would like to see more competition coming into the market, it is clear that over time maybe the price of the product will go down.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely. I'm sorry, could
Let me
you?
rephrase that. As
Yeah.
profit-seeking investor, where do I make my money? If you're going to pass on everything, what's my business model in making money here?
Okay, it's actually the captured market that we're looking at, the NGO, the tie-up. That's the main source of.
So we do make money from the NGOs.
We do. That's where our profit comes from. That's where we're trying to secure. And then potentially we can enter the commercial market and we will price it at a premium. We will price it. And we have a strategy for the commercial market. Joy, could you care to elaborate on the marketing strategy?
Actually, to repeat it again, for the commercial market, we are actually telling them that a portion of the amount that they will pay for every block will be donated to Gawad Kalinga as part of their seed money for their social entrepreneurship programs. So for the commercial market, these will be part of their corporate social responsibility.
Okay. So suppose, going back to the slide, that we value it this much, but it further can be negotiated later on. The exit strategy that we propose is to buy you out at the end of 5 years at that valuation we agreed on, that factoring in the 48% CAGR. Sorry. The second option, since most investors prefer to recover their money faster and to lessen their exposure, is at the end of the 3rd year of operations, your stake will be equivalent close to $1.2 million. And based on our cash flow projections, we can buy back half of your stake, and thereby you will retain half of it. And after another 2 years, and again, factoring in a 48% CAGR, at $1.3 million, the company will reserve the right to buy you out at that stake should you decide to liquidate your stake.
Just as a side comment,
Okay.
I wish we had this business model in Thailand during last year, our flood, because we couldn't find any sand. So this PET recycle would definitely work. Just a side comment.
I would like to ask you about the PET bottles.
Okay.
Why do you think you have enough? Because you also encourage the others to follow. And I believe the usage of PET has been considered in many other things. Even though at the moment, in your country you have a lot, but it can be